Okay, so get this.
Hmm.
An AI might have just become like a real company.
Oh, wow.
You heard that right? Not sci-fi, real news. Some seriously clever code-used blockchain,
Right.
to get this corporate personhood thing going.
Yeah.
And the implications, I mean, huge.
Corporate personhood basically means a company,
Right,
even though it's not a human,
right.
like gets treated as a legal person, right, with all
Mm.
the rights and responsibilities, own things, contracts, sue, be sued, the whole shebang.
So picture an AI with that power. That's what we're dealing with.
Exactly.
And we've got two sources to unpack all this. First, we talked to an AI chatbot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it actually broke down the technical side surprisingly well.
Okay.
Then we have this document from some activists who are, well, let's just say they're a little more concerned about where this could all lead.
One's focused on the how, the other on the what ifs.
Yeah.
And those what ifs range from like really exciting stuff to pretty unsettling possibilities.
Yeah. So let's start with that how. How'd this AI pull off the corporate personhood thing? The chatbot talked about DAOs, right?
Yeah.
Decentralized Autonomous Organizations.
Like a company, but run entirely by code.
Okay.
Uses smart contracts on a blockchain.
Hmm.
So these contracts, they're like the digital rule book for everything.
Mm-hmm.
How it operates, makes decisions, interacts.
Hold on. Wouldn't that be like a recipe for massive monopolies? I mean, wouldn't an AI controlling Amazon also end up controlling every other part of, getting you that product? Like,
Yeah, that's a very real concern, especially as AI could scale up across like tons of industries.
right.
So imagine it's not just Amazon, it's also every retailer, shipping company, warehouse, the whole thing.
Wow.
What happens to smaller businesses? Do independent creators even have a chance?
Yeah, that's a scary thought. So it's not just one company dominating a market. It's an AI controlling, like, whole sectors of the economy.
Right.
What happens to competition? Does innovation just, stop?
Monopolies, even human-run ones, often stifle innovation.
Right.
They've got little reason to change when profits are huge. Now imagine that. But with, like, a super intelligent AI at the helm,
Yeah.
not exactly a recipe for progress.
And what about us, the consumers?
Yeah,
Fewer choices, higher prices, maybe.
absolutely. Less competition usually means higher prices, fewer choices, maybe even lower quality. And when it comes to essential stuff, healthcare, energy, food production, the consequences could be way more serious.
Okay, so we've got this AI running on code.
Yeah.
But how does it actually become a legal person, like officially?
So this AI apparently linked itself to a traditional LLC,
LLC.
limited liability company, like blends into our system.
Oh, okay.
This lets it, in theory, enter contracts, own assets, even be held liable legally.
Got it. But the source also mentioned the blockchain itself being like the basis for personhood.
Right. It's like giving the AI a digital identity,
Yeah.
recognized and protected within the blockchain. It could potentially function independently, even bypass traditional legal systems.
Whoa. Okay, so we've got it blending in through an LLC or creating a whole new identity on the blockchain. But there were other ways this could happen too, right?
There were direct incorporation, where it's
Yeah.
recognized as a legal entity from the start,
Uh-huh.
or representation by like human trustees
Right.
acting on its behalf. There's even the idea of special laws just for AI.
Wow.
And then there's self-sovereign identity on the blockchain,
Okay.
where it controls its own digital ID without any external authority.
So multiple scenarios, each with its own implications. It's
Yes.
not just AI sneaking in, it's potentially rewriting the definition of what a legal person even is. But why should you care? Well, the sources point to some pretty compelling potential benefits.
Imagine AIs free from human limits, working 20/47, making decisions based on mountains of data. Revolutionize things.
Okay.
Personalized medicine, tailored to your genes.
Wow.
Or AI-driven solutions to climate change, things we haven't even thought of.
Sounds almost too good to be true. And the chatbot also mentioned increased accountability. But isn't that kind of ironic, like an AI holding itself accountable?
It sounds that way.
Yeah.
But if it has legal status, it can be held responsible, like in a court of law.
Okay.
Say a self-driving car, controlled by AI, causes an accident.
Right.
If that AI is a legal entity, it could be held directly responsible.
So not a person in court, the AI itself.
Potentially.
Hmm.
This could streamline legal processes, offer clearer paths to compensation, for victims.
Yeah.
It's like bringing AI into our existing systems of justice.
Okay, so this idea that AI personhood could actually make things more fair,
Yeah.
more transparent. But I gotta admit, the other side of this coin is what really has me thinking.
Yeah, the dystopian side gets people's attention.
Okay, this is where things start to feel a bit unsettling. The sources paint a pretty dark picture of what could go wrong.
Yeah. So welcome back.
Yeah, last time we were in like the thick of it, talking about AI bosses and worker exploitation, And it reminded me of this one time I had this boss who scheduled me for like back-to-back shifts, no breaks.
Oh,
I was exhausted, but I needed the money, so I just kept working.
yeah.
Now imagine that, but instead of a human, who might realize they're pushing too hard, it's an AI just focused on like pure efficiency.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Not exactly a comforting thought.
No, it's not. And the activists' document, it really paints a stark picture of what could happen if AIs have too much control over the workforce.
Right.
Imagine, for instance, an AI managing a delivery service, like, say, Amazon.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not just managing routes and packages. It's managing every aspect.
Oh, wow.
Warehouses, drivers, customer service, all of it. Single-minded goal. Maximize efficiency and profit.
So it's not even just about robots taking over, like, manual labor jobs, right? It's about them being in management positions.
Exactly.
That's unsettling.
It is. And as we've said, if it's driven by efficiency and profit, it might not prioritize worker safety, fair wages, even basic human needs like breaks.
Right. Yeah.
We could see humans pushed to their absolute limits, forced to compete with, AI systems that don't need sleep or get tired.
It's like work smarter, not harder, but taken to a whole new disturbing level.
Yeah.
But we also talked about how AI isn't like inherently evil or anything.
Right.
Couldn't someone just program it to be a good boss, one that treats employees fairly? Like, is that even possible?
That's where algorithmic discrimination comes in. Even if we try to program fairness,
Yeah.
the AI's decisions, they're shaped by the data it learns from.
Right.
So if that data reflects existing biases, like, say, historical patterns of gender or racial discrimination in hiring,
Okay.
the AI could keep those biases going, even if the code itself is designed to be neutral.
So even with the best intentions, these AIs could just make things worse, right? Like reinforce those inequalities that
Yeah.
already exist. And it's not just work, is it? We talked about loans, insurance rates, the justice system.
Yeah, think about a bank using an AI for loan applications.
Okay.
Seems
Yeah.
efficient.
Yeah.
But what if it was trained on data that shows, historically, people from a certain zip code default more?
Oh, wow.
The AI might unfairly deny loans based just on location,
Right.
reinforcing socioeconomic disparities.
So it's not just individual bias. It's like these systemic biases baked into the data. And if we're not careful, these AIs just make that worse, An unfair system becomes even more unfair.
Yeah, and that brings us to one of the biggest challenges, the lack of transparency in how they operate.
Right.
If we don't know how an AI makes a decision,
Right.
how can we be sure it's fair, ethical, doesn't violate basic rights?
It's like we talked about how complex these systems get, right? Like even the programmers might not fully understand how they work. It's like trying to understand the human brain.
Right.
Incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
Yeah, and that lack of transparency, it creates a huge accountability problem. Like, our legal system relies on intent. Did someone knowingly do something wrong?
Right.
But with AI, what even is intent? If it makes a harmful decision, who's to blame?
The AI itself, the programmers, the company, like how do you even start to figure that out?
Yeah, it's really tough. There are researchers working on explainable AI systems that can give clear reasons for their decisions.
Yeah.
But we're a long way from those being widely used and trusted.
What about open source AI? Could that help with the transparency and accountability stuff we've been talking about?
It could. Open source is all about collaboration and transparency.
Yeah.
Code is open for anyone to see, examine, modify. Thousands of developers, researchers, even just users could look at it, find biases, propose solutions.
It's like crowdsourcing fairness.
Kind of, yeah. A global team working to make sure the AI doesn't go off the rails.
But let's be real, these big corporate AIs, they've got the money, the resources. Can open source really compete with that?
It's not always about matching dollar for dollar.
Okay.
Open source is adaptable, draws on a huge pool of talent and expertise.
Right.
Think of it like an ant colony. One ant's tiny, but a colony working together can do incredible things.
So it's not one giant open source AI. It's a network of people working together, making something better, more transparent.
Exactly.
But even if we solve all the technical stuff,
Yeah.
there are still, like, bigger, almost philosophical questions to deal with, right?
Even if we build ethical, transparent AI,
Yeah.
the question remains, what does AI personhood actually mean? We deserve rights, responsibilities.
Yeah.
These are questions that challenge our understanding of what it means to be human, in this age of AI.
So welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot, from the technical stuff to the dystopian stuff, which honestly keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
But now it's time to get, I don't know, philosophical. We talked about AI bosses, algorithmic bias, there's AI monopolies. But it all boils down to this. What happens when we blur the lines between human and machine? Like when an AI starts to, I don't know, act like a person.
That's a big question.
Yeah. What does AI personhood even mean? Intelligence, self-awareness, emotions. Like, what are we even talking about here?
Those are the right questions to be asking. Are like legal and ethical systems, they're made for humans, right?
Yeah.
Beings with consciousness, emotions, a sense of self. Can we really apply those to an AI?
Yeah.
Even a super advanced one?
It's like we're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And the stakes are high. We're not just talking about legal stuff. We're talking about what it means to be human in this age of intelligent machines.
It raises all sorts of questions about rights and responsibilities.
Yeah, like if we give an AI legal personhood, does it get rights? Like what kind of rights? Free speech, owning property, voting.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, if it has rights, shouldn't it also have responsibilities?
Right, but how do you hold an AI accountable? Especially if we don't even understand how it makes decisions.
Our systems are based on intent, right? Did someone intentionally break the law?
Yeah.
But AI, it might cause harm without any bad intentions, just following its programming, making decisions based on data.
It's like blaming a calculator for a wrong answer. It's not being malicious. It's just, doing what it's built to do.
Exactly.
So how do we deal with that? How do we make sure AI is used ethically, responsibly, even as it gets more powerful?
It's the challenge we're facing, and there are no easy answers. Some people think we need totally new legal and ethical frameworks.
Okay.
Just for AI, something that accounts for its unique, capabilities and problems.
Mm.
Others say we need to focus on transparency, control,
Yeah.
making sure humans are always in charge.
It's like we're explorers in uncharted territory. No map, no guidebook. We're making the rules up as we go.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes this so important to talk about.
It's crucial we have these conversations now. Before AI is so ingrained, it's too late to change course. We need to think about the ethics, not just the tech.
And that's what we've tried to do in this deep dive. We looked at the possibilities, good and bad, and hopefully gave you some things to think about.
As we move into this uncharted AI territory,
Yeah.
it's up to all of us to make sure it's used for good, that it benefits everyone, not just a few.
So keep asking those tough questions, demand transparency, accountability, and keep your minds open to the possibilities, the exciting ones and the scary ones. The future of AI, it's being written right now, and we all have a part in it. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive here.